So this is the boat as it is now. I've got removed all of the, well, I didn't remove them, but I snipped off all the little twists, copper twist tie things that I used to hold it together. And then basically just sanded them down, ground them off. It's relatively easy. They grind about the same as the wood does, so that's easy enough to do as long as you got good quality sandpaper. Basically used this little tool over here to do it. I had 80 grit on it when I did that, and just ground those off. Then I also filled these grooves here, as it says in the manual, with some thickened epoxy, and just leaving a slight curve, sort of like your finger would fit in there nicely, and not filling them up completely. And then up here on between so this is the the keel, so to speak, the centerpiece. This is the first plank on each side, and then this is the second plank, the third plank, and the fourth plank. So between the first and the second plank, what I've done is I've applied some thickened epoxy, still just slightly rubbery and tacky there, and to fill this groove up, because what I'm about to do is lay the cloth over the top of this, and I'm going to be using carbon fiber cloth, and the cloth I have is 50 inches wide, and it's actually 50 inches between here on the widest spot to the same spot on the other side of the boat on the so basically at the top of the second plank. So I'm going to be running it from one side right over to the other, as opposed to the if you bought the kit with the fiberglass, I think it's only 40 inches wide, so they've got you running one from here over to as far as it goes, and then from the other side, from the top of the second plank on the other side over to wherever it comes over here. So the bottom part gets double, and it's just basically a little gap in this area. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Actually, yeah. So in the plans, or either in the manual, they've got you running it from the top of the second plank over to the top of the first plank on the other side, and then vice versa. So if it came from the other side, it would come over and stop here. Instead, I'm just going to run it all the way to here. So I'm going to end up having, I'm going to do 2 layers. So basically, effectively, I'm going to have the same coverage as suggested in the plans, except for the second planks will actually have 2 layers of cloth on them, and it's 6-ounce carbon fiber as opposed to 6-ounce fiberglass, so it'll have effectively the same weight but a bit more strength. And so I'm just going to be using West System epoxy and the slow hardener, and this is actually pretty interesting. This is some slow hardener that is probably about 25 years old last time I used it, and I ran made a bunch of test samples with it, tested them out. They're all nice and hard, so seems like it works perfectly fine. No difference between that and the regular fast hardener, and cast some on a thin surface, and also into some carbon fiber, and so you can harden up just fine. So that's what I'm going to be doing there. And then in a couple of places, I'm going to put a little Kevlar tape where I expect it to get extra wear. So after I put the carbon fiber cloth on, and I've got some carbon fiber webbing to go on the bow and the stern, basically in this area here, so that'll lay over this part here on the bow and on the stern. And then what I'm going to do with the Kevlar is basically put it like here, and back, mostly in the center of the boat, on the edges here, and other places where if I drag it up on a beach, it can get worn or whatever. Carbon fiber is not quite as wear resistant as fiberglass is, in my opinion, though it is stronger. It's just it's more brittle, versus Kevlar is just like so resistant to like pulling and scratching and tearing and that kind of thing. So it makes, excellent material for, places like this in a bow where, you could easily imagine getting dragged up on a beach and, having some rocks or whatever rubbing on it. So that'll reinforce that. And I'm just going to put that on top of the carbon fiber as sort of a sacrificial wear strip that I could easily replace or add more to later if I decide I want to do that. So that's the plan. So I'm going to roll the cloth out on top of this, cut it to shape, and then roll that cloth up, again another layer of that, roll it out, and then leave it there, coat that, and then unroll the material that I've rolled up and lay it back out and wet it out and epoxy it down. So that's the plan. See how it goes.